The winners get to write the history, like it or not. Find your balance with a special excerpt from the Avatar Brave the Elements podcast.
Featuring our guest,
Mr. John O'Brien.
We do go back to the prison. Zuko is basically just outright blaming Iroh for his own situation. Not my favorite moment. And Iroh is, as we said,
he kind of was wanting his help too. He kind of was
him.
wanting his help a little bit. He's like, I want the help. I came for. Then he's like, you're not gonna talk to me. Then he starts blaming. I'm not saying it's cool he's blaming. I'm saying he first went with love and kind of,
Okay. All right, if you say so. I don't know if he went with love. I don't know if he went with love.
He's trying to justify him turning
on his uncle.
Yeah.
Right?
He got caught up. But he got caught up in his sister.
He's justifying to himself.
There you go. There you go. And Iroh won't, he's just not biting. And then, of course, Zuko has this just great kind of mini tantrum, like we would probably all do if we were in that very specific situation that Zuko finds himself in. But, he's
super rough.
He does that thing where he screams at him. And as hard as it is to listen to, I think we're just going to play it right now so that we can we've got to truly lean in and see how sad this is.
Why do you want to go back to these moments?
You're not going to say anything? You're a crazy old man. You're crazy. And if you weren't in jail, you'd be sleeping in a gutter.
It's all part of the journey, Dante. It's all part of the journey.
We already lived that journey.
Yeah.
Well, it's the next day now. Now we're in the next day. And we're back at the school where Aang is struggling to keep up with the Pledge of Allegiance to Lord Ozai, which is actually called the Fire Nation Oath.
Yes.
Anybody want to say it with me? Anybody want to say it with me?
Let's do it.
My life
I give to my country.
With my hands I
fight for Fire Lord Ozai.
For the Fire Lord Ozai.
And
our forefathers before him. With my mind,
I seek ways to better my country. And with my
feet, may I
march of civilization continue.
Can I tell?
Blah, blah, Fire Lord.
blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'd like to say that when Zuko became Fire Lord, he changed that. I don't think that's rocking anymore like that in the Fire Nation. I'd like to say that. When Aang can't recite along with the others, people are laughing there, and then they're punished by a pop quiz by their favorite teacher about the history of the Fire Nation. And then here we have this really awesome scene where we see how one nation may interpret history different than others. The ones who won get the benefit of saying how they remembered it. And then Aang, he actually says it the way he remembered it. And then the teacher's like, well, if you were there 100 years ago, maybe you didn't. And I love just seeing Aang like, I was there. I know exactly how it went down.
Can't tell them that.
But
yeah.
We're not saying that not right now.
Yeah.
So he actually understands the whole Sozin and the air nomads and how he was there. And so for sure it's played out for comedy here, but also, it does explain to everyone how history is built. The winners, the spoils of war is they get to write the history. The winners get to write the history, like it or not. Anyhow, past the distorted history lessons, we get to the music portion of the show, and we get to see now Aang in music class, and he's playing a what is that horn? What's that horn?
A Sungi horn.
Is that a real horn?
I don't think so.
It's an invention.
Visually, it might be based on a real instrument, but
okay. But we might have seen this before. Sungi horns. Oh yeah. So yeah, it was invented. It's an invented instrument for the Avatar verse, and it was actually based or represented by the Armenian duduk.
Duduk.
What?
Yeah.
So
cool.
So when you see or hear something from the Sungi horn in Avatar, you're actually hearing a duduk. Duduk or duduk?
We're going to have to ask Jeremy. We're going to have to ask Jeremy when he comes back
Jeremy,
on.
is it duduk
he'll give
or
us
is it
pronunciation
duduk?
lessons. Yeah. And
anyhow,
speaking of,
I love that he's an airbender playing an air instrument.
Did absolutely not think about that. That is an amazing observation, my friend. And I do want to say, I did write Jeremy when I was watching this scene to say, like, I always love in movies or in shows when a band is intentionally bad and you sort of imagine the like very well-trained and musicians that they have in a room as they're recording this, the soundtrack for something, and they're like, and now you need to sound like garbage. Like, that just really tickles me. So I wrote him and said, like, did you have a room full of like these amazing musicians that you had to sort of go, no, worse? No, it needs to be worse than that, even worse than that. Sorry. And he said no, that he himself played all of the instruments for that scene.
Amazing.
And that he was terrible at them. So in that case, it really was just truly very easily accomplished. He's like, I really didn't have to do anything because I did not know how to play them well. And that's why they have the sound that they have, which I love.
Who's on?
I know. I'm a terrible Soongi hornist.
No, child. That hullabaloo going on with your feet. Is that a nervous disorder?
I was just dancing. You do dances here in the homeland, right?
Not really, no.
Dancing is not conducive to a proper learning environment. Young people must have rigid discipline and order.
But what about expressing yourself?
I know sometimes we're so moved by our love for our nation that we can't control our own bodies. If you must, you may march in place quietly next time the urge hits you.
Sometimes you're so moved by love of your country that you have to, you can march in place. And Anji, this girl, tells Aang how much he likes his dancing. He offers to show her again, but her boyfriend shows up and he is not feeling it. And you get the sense that this guy is very used to winning the fights he starts, but not this time, because Aang is, being an airbender, is all head movement, and the guy can't lay a hand on him. And of course, they both get blamed and punished, which means you got to bring your parents and to meet the principal.
Thank you for coming, Mr. and Mrs.
Fire! Wang Fire! This is my wife, Sapphire.
Sapphire Fire, nice to meet you.
Mr. and Mrs. Fire.
Yeah, next scene. In my opinion, all gold.
Couldn't agree more. And I'll just jump in and say, I love this because you could have shown us the, that would have been fun too. You could have shown Aang being like, guys, I have to tell you something. Like, we could have seen that exposition play out. And I love that you did not do that. I love that you just immediately
smash cut.
Yeah, the smash cut. It's so funny. It makes it even funnier. It's such a great choice. I love it.
Reminiscent of Ferris Bueller's Day Off when Matthew Broderick comes in as the father.
Sure.
Like, because in your mind, you're like, there's no way these kids are going to be parents. And then it's like Matthew Broderick is like playing the father. It's somehow working. And the same thing with Sokka. Like, it's somehow working the father thing.
Yeah.
Full on Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Sokka talking about how he's going to straighten him out something fierce. And
Something
Katara, for
fierce.
some reason, pregnant.
What
It
was
ages her
that?
up.
That
It
was
ages her up.
crazy.
It makes sense.
Oh,
It
that
was
ages her up.
wild.
It's like, well, she's got to be a full-grown adult. She's going to have a baby. Absolutely, she's a mom for sure. No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and I do want to give a special shout out to Jack DeSena for that scene because and the animators who that is a beautiful marriage of stuff because in that scene, Sokka is so angry, spittle is actually coming out of his mouth.
Don't you worry, Mr. Headmaster. I'll straighten this boy out something fierce. Young man, as soon as we get home, you're gonna get the punishment of a lifetime.
That's what I like to hear.
I swear they actually animated him spitting with anger, and it is so funny to me. It's such an
He's
inspired
so great.
performance in voice and in animation. That is when you really realize it takes a village. It's wonderful. The writing and the acting, the animating.
Jack is a comedy juggernaut. Oh my
Yes,
God.
he
yeah.
is.
That guy.
Phenomenal.
You want to take advantage of everything he brings to the table for sure, and you absolutely did in this scene. we know now that, like, I guess what happens to you if you misbehave is that you just get sent to work in the coal mine. You just don't get a lot of reform school up. Like, there's not a lot of options. Like, you're behaving or you are working in a coal mine. So that's a little grim. But so we see the Fire family. We see Sapphire and Wang Fire, as you pointed out earlier, John, and it's beautiful. And then we go in and check in with our favorite goth couple, Zuko and May. They're watching the sunset. They're disparaging it. They're making out. And then Azula interrupts them and kind of sends May off so that she can discuss Zuko's visits to Uncle Iroh.
They're making out in front of Azula. They don't stop.
I know.
It's like Azula comes in, like, they just go back to it. Like, dude,
It's
what's
awkward.
going on? Like, we don't care
It's
about
awkward.
Azula. It's
That's a little
awkward. We don't
awkward.
care.
Yeah.
The little sister busts into the room
Yeah.
and ruins everything.
I constantly have to remind myself she's a younger sister. I constantly have to remind myself she's younger.
I don't get it, John. She's a younger sister.
Yeah.
We're so
I
scared
know.
of her.
Yeah. So
She's
she's like,
terrifying.
yeah, she's terrifying. And she's like, oh, I heard you're doing this. And, you know, it's that classic trick where he's like, how'd you know? And she's like, because you just told me. Classic Azula, always playing that chess game. And
I hate her.
Yeah,
I hate her.
I mean, totally. And she's like, listen, I'm just, watch your back. Like, I'm not going to use this against you. I'm just warning you. And then we go back to the cave where Aang is just very convinced that he needs to do something to help positively influence the future of the Fire Nation. It's very, very important. He's got to find a way to help shape their future, which I guess in his case is just to host a secret dance party. You know, it's those small decisions. It's those small things that you bring to a community that really help shape it.
It's big. It's big.
Yeah. So the party is going to happen at the cave. Everybody kind of helps and does their part. Toph helps to make it into a little bit more of a dance-like setting. The students approach. Appa goes into hiding. Shout out to Appa, by the way, who I have to say does not get to do that much in this episode. He's definitely very undercover in this episode, does not have a lot going on. But shout out to him. The students, the band's playing much better this time. And then Aang is trying to get the kids to dance, and they're just so shy that he's like, well, no, look, it wasn't always like this in the Fire Nation. Look, I'll even show you some Fire Nation moves, right? So he's trying to get them to engage.
We do tease about dancing, but you think about it, it's like we all have memories of like school dances, 8th grade, high school. They're very core memories. So Aang is giving these Fire Nation kids some core memories that they're going to hold with them for the future. So now we're back at the prison tower. Zuko's trying again with Iroh, and this time he's brought in some Komodo chicken. It becomes clear that Zuko really needs to be able to confide in Uncle Iroh. Maybe now more than ever. Zuko tells Iroh that yes, he's gotten everything he spent the last 3 years dreaming about, but he's still not happy. He feels sure that the Avatar is still alive and doesn't know what to do about it. But Iroh remains silent, so Zuko busts one of his classic petulant moves and just storms off. But his heart's not really in it. I mean, he does it because he's playing it out because he's Zuko. But I don't think his heart's really in it. And then as the scene ends, we see Uncle Iroh is crying. Like that one tear from Iroh is like, and it makes everybody feel guilty. We're so guilty, right? But now we go back to the dance party. We go back at the dance party where Aang finally gets the kids to start dancing. And by the way, Katara doesn't seem to love Aang's dancing with Onji too much. There's a little vibe going on with Onji, and I don't even know what Onji's doing with the jerk guy. She needs to figure that out. I don't know.
Yeah.
She is cute though.
It's an 80s
and then we
trope.
we
don't know why these girls are with these guys.
Yeah, like what's going to say something to your guy? What's going on? And then we see some pretty sweet hip hop moves in there. We see a lot of different men. I love seeing the one guy that's always at the club that's dancing super hard, but doesn't really know what he's doing, can't really control his body too well.
Yeah.
You gotta have him.
It's good. It's the vibe is like, I'm with you. You're not doing good, but you're doing the best ever.
Yeah.
But you captured that guy perfectly. I love that.
Expressing himself very well for someone.
Yeah.
who can't
Just
dance.
go for it.
Dance
You're
like no
not-
one's watching. Even
That's
though in
what
this
he was
case, everyone's
doing.
watching.
Finally, like Aang asks Katara to dance, and they do this really wonderful dance. It's kind of part martial arts, part partner dancing, part capoeira. What's that? Is it
Capoeira, yeah.
Capoeira.
Good call. Bend your ear for ad-free episodes with Avatar Braving the Elements Premium.
Subscribe today on Apple Podcasts.